Full and uncut versions available on Patreon. Check in the description below.
Greetings once again, Pokemaniacs. Duuz-Diz-Din back again with more of the Pokemon Adventures manga, where previously Hal joined up with Elima to meet with the other trial captains for a raid of sorts on the Team Skull headquarters in Potown. Meanwhile, Sun was still busy with his trial given to him by Acerola in order to tame the totem Pokemon Mimikyu. After finding a bit of an understanding with the Pokemon, the Mimikyu joins Sun's team, nicknamed Penny. Lily, who is also with Sun, also finds that Cosmog has evolved into Cosmo and is unresponsive. At the same time, the trial captains and Hal meet Guzma and Team Skull in Potown. While the trial captains try to have a dialogue with Guzma, he unleashes the Ultra Beasts, Guzzlord, Pheromosa, and Celesteela, against them. While Sun and Lily head back to the Aether house, they're met with Cena and Dexio, who hire Sun in order to find the Zygarde cores and cells scattered across Alola. With the money from that job, Sun will only need 6 million yen in order to complete what he's after. While Sun heads out, Lily stays at the Aether house, but in Sun's search he ends up at Potown, where he knows that the trial captains have gone to meet with Team Skull. What he wasn't expecting to find was the rampaging Ultra Beasts. As he enters, he and the trial captains and Hal find that Guzma also has a Cosmog and is using it to create Ultra Wormholes and summon more Ultra Beasts, namely Nihilego and Xurkitree. But Gladion, having initially teamed up with Team Skull, reveals his true motives: destroy all Ultra Beasts. And Gladion demands to know who gave Guzma the Cosmog. Meanwhile, Professor Kukui and his wife, Professor Burnett, have arrived on the outskirts of the island that Potown sits, Ula Ula, but with no place to dock the ship. Moon uses her Rowlet in order to make her way to Potown. In Potown, Gladion reveals that Titanol was created in order to face off against the Ultra Beasts, and that the one behind it all is Lumsmine, the leader of the Aether Foundation, leaving many, specifically the trial captains, in disbelief. As Moon arrives, she does question if Gladion is telling the truth, but suddenly, Guzma is taken by Nihilego into one of the Ultra Wormholes, and the other beasts start to rampage across Ula Ula Island. The captains ask for Gladion's help, but because of their disbelief and his unwillingness to help out, he heads off to do his own thing. The captains head off to help anyone who's in danger, while Moon stays behind as Sun was injured fighting one of the Ultra Beasts. Sophocles, one of the other trial captains, and Mulaney, his cousin, help to evacuate people off the island, with Sophocles using an invention in order to drive away the Ultra Beasts. After Sun recovers, he collects more of the Zygarde cells in Potown, and as he does, Moon questions why Sun seems to have an issue with the Aether Foundation, with it being revealed that the Aether Foundation, and more specifically, Faba, stole land from Sun's great-grandfather. But this conversation is interrupted by two familiar faces, members of the International Police, Looker, and shockingly enough, an older Annabelle, former frontier brain salon maiden of the Battle Tower, who are looking to ask Sun a few questions, namely about the Ultra Beasts. What'll happen next? Join me as I find out, won't you? Alright, we pick up with Chapter 20, titled An Urgent Task and a Capture of an Ultra Beast. As Looker and Annabelle introduce themselves, Sun questions, "You're part of the International Police?" Annabelle responds, "I'm Annabelle. This is my subordinate, Looker." Looker gives a bow. It's shocking how often Looker is the subordinate to people quite a bit younger than him. But then again, I'm someone who believes that just because you're younger, as long as you have the experience, I'll follow your orders. I got no problem with that. Annabelle explains, saying, "The International Police is an organization that fights crime that span across regions. We investigate, capture criminals, and take in Pokemon used in those crimes. Moon responds, I know who you are. What is it that you'd like to ask us? Annabelle responds, none other than the creatures who appeared here, the Ultra Beasts. It's about them. Did you not see or come in contact with them? Sun and Moon are both shocked by this line of questioning. Annabelle goes on saying, we have known about the Ultra Beast's existence for a while now. However, they are beasts from a different world. Since we were unable to face them, we not only allowed them to enter this world, we were also unable to prevent the damage that would be caused by their emergence. That's why we'd like to ask you two about the beasts since you've seen and come in contact with them. We'd like to use your accounts to help plan our strategy. Moon responds, I understand but Sun cuts her off saying, hold it, miss. You can't trust people just like that, especially not people who spout out that they're doing the right thing and taking in Pokemon. The Aether Foundation, huh? Both Moon and Annabelle are taken a little bit aback by this, as Moon questions, are you talking about the Aether Foundation? And Annabelle responds, are you referring to the Aether Foundation? Sun questions, how did you know? Like, dude, come on. I mean, he's not wrong to be distrustful, all things considered, but still. Annabelle says, sorry, I just happened to hear the conversation we were having earlier. Then how about I pay you compensation for your cooperation? Oof. She hit the pay button. Sun is sweating bullets now. He's feeling a little bit trapped. As Moon sees that he's struggling, she thinks, the courier has never hesitated like this over money before. Does that mean that the Aether Foundation actually did something bad enough to make him wary of all big organizations? Annabelle then speaks up saying, I know nothing about the trouble you may have had with the Aether Foundation. However, even if you are unable to trust us, please at least listen to what I'm about to say. Do you see those holes that opened up in the sky? As far as we know, there is no way to close them. In other words, there is a possibility that eventually more Ultra Beasts will come pouring out from those holes. The power of the Ultra Beasts is absolute. Right now, Alola cities are in danger of being destroyed by that power. At this rate, before you'll be able to buy it back, your great-grandfather's island may be completely destroyed. As she still sees that Sun is struggling, Moon grows more and more worried about Sun. The Sun suddenly shouts, and then questions, you said your name was Annabelle, right? With a very intense look on his face, Sun questions, how much will you pay me to give you information? Annabelle says, how much would you like? Sun says, 6 million yen. Luca shouts, well, that's outrageous. Annabelle simply says, very well. So, seriously? Annabelle taps on her comm device saying, hello, this is Annabelle, and instantly 6 million yen is deposited into Sun's account. God damn. Oh man. Some people just grow cooler with age, and Annabelle instantly paying him like that, like it's nothing. Hey, major corporation. Sun is aghast and in shock, saying to Moon, Miss, they actually paid me 6 million yen. Moon says, I see. You better properly give them the information then. Sun can't get out his words as he's still just in shock. So Moon politely pushes him to the side, saying, Courier, I'll explain, okay? And Sun says, please do. Moon goes on to explain, the Ultra Beasts that appeared here in Po Town were all unique. One of them took Team Skull's boss Guzmo away with it back into one of the holes. Oh, also, he only appears in flashback, but they got one of my boys, Guzzlord. Guz does whatever a Guzzlord does. One of them took Team Skull's boss Guzmo away with it back into one of the holes. The other 4 destroyed that wall and went outside. Annabelle responds, that means that 4 Ultra Beasts are currently in Alola. Looker, investigate their species, positions, and conditions and report back immediately. Looker gives a salute saying, Roger that. He pulls out his jetpack saying, International Police Arms Number 5, Galactic Jet, and he rockets off into the sky. Good to see you, Looker. Annabelle looks back towards Moon's questioning, do you know of the 5 species that appeared here? Moon responds, no. The 2 that a professional golfer named Kahili fought on Milimili Island seem to be different too. Annabelle responds, that makes 7. Please tell me about their traits then. Moon responds, I'll start with the 4 causing chaos outside then. The first Ultra Beast was pure white, with long antennae and wings that looked like a veil. It used different leg attacks, moved quickly, and Annabelle responds, I know what it is. Its codename is Beauty. Faramosa is that beast's name. Moon then responds, the next Ultra Beast was giant. It was about the height of a mansion. Its body looked like it was made from green metal. It floated and shot beams from its 2 pillar-like arms, which were separated from its body. Annabelle responds, codename Blaster. Celesteela is its official name. Moon then goes on, I love how Moon and Annabelle interact. They're 2 very analytical people. So it's just them trading back information back and forth. Moon says this one wasn't as big as Celesteela, but it was still giant. Its entire body looked like a mouth, and it either ate up or drank up the barricades and trees. Annabelle responds, Glutton. Its codename alludes to its ravenous appetite. Most likely, the Ultra Beast you're talking about is Guzzlord. Moon then responds, now the 4th one. Its head looked like a spiky light bulb, and its limbs and tail looked like bundles of cables. Annabelle responds, that's a species that isn't contained in our files. Moon responds, a few days ago in the lush jungle on Akala Island, I spotted that Ultra Beast fighting against the island's guardian deity, Tapu Lili. However, at the time, it used electric-type moves, so we deduced that the Ultra Beast may be similar to Pokémon. We also gave that Ultra Beast the temporary name Lightning. Annabelle ponders this, saying, I see. Then the 5th one took Team Skull's boss. Moon responds, yes. It was translucent, and its head looked like a hat made from electric light. It had several tentacles. Annabelle thinks to herself, saying, that one isn't on our files either. Moon then says, may I ask you something? Annabelle says, go ahead. Moon says, was our information worth 6 million yen? Like Mr. Looker said, I think it was an outrageous price. I'm honestly shocked that you would pay us before hearing what we had to say. Moon, shut up! Like, analytical to a fault. It's just like, I don't feel that their information was worth the money. It's just like, look, right now they're after any information. And the fact that she immediately agreed to that money should tell you how serious of a situation this is. Like, the thing is, that information is very vital because you at least know certain elements of the moves of certain Pokemon. The fact that you were immediately able to give them information about ones that weren't on their file and even the abilities of one of them should tell you how dire of a situation this is. Annabelle responds, you have a point, but before I answer you, she breaks out a Pokeball and sends out, is that Miss Magius? Yeah, Miss Magius. Sun pushes Moon out of the way and brings out his Meowth, saying, get back, miss. I knew they were planning something. Annabelle has Miss Magius use Magical Leaf, while Sun thinks to himself, that move always hits no matter what. Then we'll use coins as a smokescreen, feign injury, and retaliate. He tells his Meowth to use Payday, but the attack misses. Sent. Moon says the move dodged itself. Suddenly something is struck behind Sun. Oh! I didn't know it was here too. But then again, more wormholes than we've seen before were already opened up. What was this name? This one called before? Balcephalon, I think is how you pronounce it. I don't think I've ever actually heard this one's name spoken out loud. Okay, from what I looked up, I kind of got it right. Blacephalon. Is that it? Huh. Now, it's not every day that the the name is more complicated in English than I think it is in Japanese. Because in Japanese it's just Zagadon, which translates to head goes boom. But Balcephalon is knocked back by Miss Magius, much to the shock of Sun and Moon. Both Sun and Moon shout, a new Ultra Beast. Annabelle responds, the international police have given that one the codename Burst. Its official name in their world is Blacephalon. Blacephalon attacks Miss Magius, but it manages to dodge. But as it sends out another attack, it hits Sun's Meow. Annabelle then questions, if you think 6 million yen was too much to accept, do you not intend to do some work worthy of the price? Sun says, I knew it. What are you trying to make me do? Annabelle responds, it's nothing that difficult. I want you to help me capture Blacephalon. Sun responds, that's it? Wait, can you even capture those things? Well, whatever. I can't say no when you've already paid me, right? Set, let's do it. And Meowth goes in, claws at the ready, and all it takes off Blacephalon's head. Moon says, wow, they decapitated it in one shot. I mean, yeah, it would seem kind of brutal and not off-brand for this manga, but, well, the thing about Blacephalon is its head kind of does that, as it just grabs its head and then starts juggling on top and then rolls it around, and it just kind of falls back into place. Blacephalon then gives a bow, and Moon says its head wasn't connected to its body in the first place. Sun sends back in his Meowth saying, then our target is its body. And he has his Meowth use Payday. The coins strike Blacephalon, and in a massive explosion, the coins are fried. Sun says, gah, the coins disappeared. What a waste. Moon questions, was that explosion the move known as Flame Burst? Annabelle says, you've got a good eye. When used by Blacephalon, fire moves end up looking like that. That's why we gave it the codename Burst. Sun says, dang it. If the head and body are both no good, how am I supposed to attack it? Annabelle puts her hand on Sun's shoulder, saying, you see, when you attack it from where it can see, it'll block every move. That's why you can only attack it from where it can't see you and is not paying attention. Yeah, all the more reason to team up with someone for it. We see that Miss Magius was hiding in Blacephalon's shadow and strikes it from behind using Shadow Force. Annabelle brings out a Pokeball saying, all right then, and throws it at Blacephalon. However, it manages to break out of the Pokeball. Annabelle questions, can it not be caught with normal Pokeballs? Blacephalon then takes off its head. Annabelle grabs Sun and Moon saying, that's mind blown. Run, if you get hit, you'll be blown away. And Blacephalon throws its head towards the trio. They try to escape. Sun saying, we're not gonna make it. And in a massive explosion, they're okay. Much to Annabelle's shock, only for them to see that it's Blacephalon who is knocked back. They're all left bewildered. Moon saying, the move, and Sun questions, misfired? Annabelle questions, then what exactly blew Blacephalon away? Oh. Suddenly, hovering behind them is Tapu Bulu, which is way bigger than I thought it was. Holy crap! Dang! Is Tapu Bulu really that big? Holy crap! That thing is huge! Hey, okay, hold on. Tapu Bulu. 6'3". Oh my god! Jarvis! Okay, yeah, it is that big. Hey, okay. Tapu Koko, 5'11". Oh god, that's still big. That's still bigger than me. Tapu Lili, 3'11". Oh, okay, that explains a lot. Because when they were next to Tapu Lili, I'm like, oh, okay, they're kind of decent size, like the size of a vase or something. But my god! And then Tapu Fini, 4'3". Okay, so the female Tapu are smaller than the male Tapu, and Tapu Bulu is the biggest. And you're damn right about it being the biggest. My god! I mean, Tapu Koko is already kind of bigger than I expected, but I just kind of chalked that up to floating. But man, seeing Tapu Bulu just towering over them, like, my god, this thing is huge. Suddenly, someone's calling out to Sun and Moon. They turn, seeing Professor Kukui and Professor Burnett racing towards them. Burnett says, we had a tough time finding a place to dock the yacht. Kukui says, anyway, son, take this. It's the Mirage Berry. Open it and offer it to the Tapu. Sun turns saying, then Kukui says, that's right. Sun says, this is Tapu Bulu? Tapu Bulu protected us? Sun pauses and then says, there's no way. Moon questions what he means, and Sun, getting all worked up, says, there's no reason for Tapu Bulu to have saved us. The Tapus are guardian deities who protect everything alive in Alola. Tapu Bulu just came to fight off the Ultra Beast threatening Alola's safety. I mean, if it's like Gladian said, the one who invited danger to Alola was none other than a human. For some unknown reason, holes opened in the sky because a human called the Ultra Beast. Isn't that why the Tapus are going wild? So why? Why would it take a berry from me, another human? Please calm your rage with this berry? You've got to be kidding me. Both Kukui and Moon are a bit taken aback by Sun's response. But Moon says, you're right. It might be just as you say. But that's why we should offer the berry to it. Sun says, huh? What are you saying, miss? And Moon takes Sun's hands, and they both hold out the berry. With a very worried Sun, but Moon, still smiling, says, we humans will take responsibility and restore Alola's peace by fighting off the danger. As a token of that promise, we offer you this berry. Please take it, and please, lend us your power. Sun turns, saying, miss, looking worried at Moon. And Tapu Bulu does in fact take the berry, eating it down. Annabelle thinks to herself as she sees this, restore peace by fighting off danger, huh? Then we'll have to capture the Ultra Beast right away. If only we had Pokeballs made specifically for capturing them. If anyone can make them, it's him. He's said to be hiding in this region. We have to capture him immediately. Capture him? If it's who I think it is, you shouldn't really have to capture him. Unless he's that deep undercover. Unless it's not who I think it is. It's kind of a little up in the air. But someone who can make Pokeballs. I have a feeling I know who that is. Alright, next up is Chapter 21. Thieving and Boss Crabominable. We pick up at, I assume, Hala's place as he says, then, is it safe to say that there are no objections? Olivia says yes, and Nana says sure. Hala then says, for the long empty position of Island Kahuna of Pony Island, unanimously, Hapu is who we vote for. Ah, yeah, of course. Hapu's cool, though. So, considering how the story goes here, I don't know how intricate the involvement of the Kahunas are. Because right now the captains have played a bigger role than the Kahuna. But considering that the captains haven't been able to really do as much as they might have liked, I think it's time for the Kahuna to actually step in. And maybe even more. Olivia says her grandfather was once a Kahuna. I'm sure she'll be able to carry on his legacy. Nanu says, yeah, well, if we're done here, I'm heading back to Ula Ula. We're being attacked by extra-dimensional beasts. It'd be bad if we left things to the captains. They're just kids. Hey, how old is Hapu? Now that I think about it, because, yeah, the captains are mainly kids, but the Kahuna are mostly adults. How old is Hapu? Isn't Hapu also a child? Or is Hapu just simply someone who is just very short? I wonder. Because, the Pokemon games have, kind of made it a point not to really give out ages too often in a lot of cases. Well, Olivia says, I'm going back to Akala too. Hala says, understood. I'll tell Hapu about our choice. But just as Nanu opens the door, while he's about to open the door, he notices something and moves back just as another Ultra Beast slices through the door. It's none other than the same Ultra Beast who attacked Kahili, Kartana. It comes slicing through the door. Nanu just barely managing to avoid getting his head cut off, falling to the floor. Olivia says, Nanu, are you all right? And Nanu wipes the sweat from his face, saying, that was a close one. Only for them not to notice Buzzwole until it comes bursting through the wall like the Kool-Aid Man. Hala looks at both, saying, these are White Lightning-like one and the Red Muscular one. They must be the extra-dimensional beings that attack Kahili. Very astute of you, Hala. Olivia and Nanu ready their Pokeballs, but Hala cuts them off, saying, I can handle this. You two, protect your islands. Ooh, he gets into a full-on sumo stand. Although, I feel like this is a situation, if they had known about it, he should have been doing the haka. He should have been doing a haka dance. But he gets into a sumo stand saying, I'm Mealy Mealy Island's Kahuna. I'll be the one to protect it from danger. He orders his Pokemon, Hariyama, close combat. Beware Hyper Beam! A massive explosion erupts out of Hala's house as Olivia and Nanu make their way out. Olivia, looking back, says, do you think he'll be fine on his own? Nanu says, Lima and How are on their way. They'll come to help him soon enough. We don't have time to be worrying about others. We've got to fight beasts like these too, you know. Olivia says, do you think they're on Pony Island too? If they are, there's a heavy responsibility for having just been appointed kahuna. Nanu takes this into consideration, but Nana says, I'm not so sure about that. Olivia questions, huh? What do you mean? Nano explains, saying, the deciding factor is Tapu Fini. Even if we push it, or if Pony Island is put in harm's way, if Tapu Fini doesn't give up, it's over. Olivia says but Nana says, think about that courier kid. Before now, have the Tapus ever given a sparkling stone to someone who's not from Alola? The captains and kahunas. Everyone who owns a Z-ring is a Alolan. But Tapu Koko gave a sparkling stone to that courier. It says he's from Kanto. It kinda bothers me. I get the feeling it's got something to do with how to fix this mess. Olivia says, is that your officer's intuition speaking? I guess you really do live up to your position. Nana says, quit teasing. It's like an occupational illness that was pounded into my head a way back. Olivia says, but when was way back? What kind of work were you doing then? Trying quite a lot, huh? Nana says, that doesn't really matter, does it? Akala Island is that way, got it? Little old me is going this way. Don't do anything rash, Olivia. Olivia makes her way to their boat, saying, right back at you. And they both take off. Next, we pick up with Moon taking a ride Sharpedo out. While Sun is on the ride Sharpedo, Moon is with Annabelle on her boat. Wait, who's driving the boat? That doesn't quite look like Kukui's ship, but I'm not sure. But Sun says, why do I have to follow you guys? Annabelle says, you're riding ahead of me, you know. Moon then calls out, Courier, where are you going? Sun says, isn't it obvious? To Pony Island. I'm going to deliver the Mirage Berry to Tapu Fini and get this job over with. Annabelle says, what a coincidence. I'm headed there too. Codename Beauty has landed on Akala Island. Codename Blaster and Codename Glutton are attacking Malay City. Lightning and Burst, who have been blown away, are headed to Pony Island. That's what Looker told me in his report. I've also been told that 2 unidentified Ultra Beasts have appeared on Mili Island. Sun says, you mean they're on all 4 islands now? But why are you going to Pony Island? Annabelle says the other 3 islands have their captains to protect them. But Pony Island has no kahuna. Fighting the Ultra Beasts off would be difficult. Sun questions, they don't have a kahuna? Annabelle says, you don't know that? Moon says, Professor Kukui's going to see his friend at Hokulani Observatory. And Professor Burnett went to the facility where Lily is. Sun says, I'm not worried about those lovebirds, more importantly. And then he thinks to himself, great. What am I supposed to ask about Tapu Fini's location then? The Sun says, whatever. As long as I get there, I can at least do something. I only need 3.9 million more yens. I don't have time to hesitate. And he races off. Moon calling out, wait, Courier. He then says, geez, you can't go off like that. What are you going to do if you meet an Ultra Beast alone? Exactly. Even if you don't trust the people you're with, having someone to watch your back is better than not. And especially after you kind of got your ass kicked by the one Ultra Beast. You got hit pretty hard there, buddy. When we pick up with Sun at Pony Island at Pony Beach, he looks around saying, man, this place is empty. Seriously, who am I supposed to ask about Tapu Fini? Hey, is anyone around? Only for him to be hit by a friggin' rock to the head. My God. He holds it. Oh, and his head is full on bleeding. He holds his head saying, ow, ow, ow. But suddenly the box he was holding is dragged away. He says, huh? Where'd the Mirage Berry go? And he sees 2, Trabrawler walking away with it. As they speed off, he races after them saying, get back here, you berry thieves. No, this is worse. You're berry killers. Oh my God, that translation. So we see miles away, Moon and Annabelle are in the Pony Wild, with Moon questioning, I wonder where he went. Annabelle says, are you worried about him? Moon says, yes, because he's always quick to get injured. As a pharmacist, I'm aiming to become skilled in medical treatment. I have the skills needed to treat humans and Pokemon, but that doesn't mean I'm fine watching them get hurt. Annabelle says, you're very reliable. I'd actually love to work with you if possible. Moon says, why is that? Annabelle tells her, Haven't you noticed? From the harbor, we've passed through Seafolk Village and made it to the Pony Wilds. But have we run into any other humans? Moon says, now that you mention it, do you think everybody fled because lightning and bursts appeared? Annabelle says, I'd be fine if everyone had evacuated safely, but by the off chance that anyone's hurt. Moon thinks for a moment and says, I've got to just, I'll accompany you. Annabelle says, I appreciate it. Moon then says, pardon my impertinence, but I have a question in return. Annabelle says, and what would that be? Moon says, besides their code names, you've also called the Ultra Beasts by their official names, right? Hermosa, Celesteela, and Guzzlord. Annabelle says, I did. Moon then questions, where did those official names come from? You know, I was actually thinking that too. It's like, you have code names, but you also have official names. How did you get their official names? Don't tell me, is she working with that's the only reasonable answer. They'd be the only ones to know the official names of any, but they weren't in the original game I played. It must be them. Don't you just love the pronoun game? Annabelle says you're sharp to have noticed that. Those are the Ultra Beast's official names in their home dimensions. Yeah. Moon questions, then are you saying that the international police have already made contact with those dimensions and have interacted? You've interacted enough to figure out their real names? Annabelle says, Moon, you saw the Ultra Beast's auras, didn't you? Auras. Moon says, huh? I did? Oh, is this where she talks about her situation? Annabelle says, that must mean my aura has been weakened to the point where it can't easily be seen. Moon says, are you telling me that you... Annabelle says, that's right. I'm the same as the Ultra Beast, a human who came from those dimensions. Thus, the international police have designated those like me fallers. See, this is something that always made me kind of question, because the way they say that, it makes it seem like this Annabelle is from a completely another dimension. But that's not the truth as far as I'm aware of. It's simply that she's fallen through an ultra wormhole. She's gone into another dimension through a wormhole and then come back out again back into this world. At least I think. And that is pretty much quoted verbatim from the game. So then we pick up with Sun. Oh, I know where this is. Oh, is he about to encounter... Oh, okay. Sun travels to the Seafolk village following the crab brawlers to a very specific looking Steelix boat, he says. And Sun says they went inside that Steelix boat. Okay, I've got them. And he heads inside. Sun shouts, get out here. Give me back my berry. But when he looks in, he says, huh? What the heck? This place is littered with berries and Crabrawler. Only for one of the Crabrawler to shut the door on him. And Sun says, great, now I'm trapped. Suddenly, Sun is surrounded by the Crabrawler as he's brought out his Torracat. Sun says, is this ship their habitat or something? But now another figure looms over Sun. The big boss of the Crabrawler, Crabominable. Sun thinks to himself, the Crabominable must be their leader. As the Crabrawler then present the berry to the Crabominable, Sun says, the Mirage Berry, you can't have that. And he goes for the berry, only for Crabominable to slam Sun into the ground and then start striking him repeatedly while he's down. My God. And Sun really does take a beaten in this series as he's then slammed into the wall. I think he drops his ride pager. Sun hits the ground hard, and as she tries to get up, a twinge of pain surges through his body. He thinks to himself, it hurts. My body can't move. Not being able to move at a time like this is trouble. If only Miss were here. That's asking for too much. Oh, suddenly, the door to the ship starts to bend in with several hits, and with one final kick, Mudsdale manages to kick in the door. Wasn't expected to see this, but okay, that means she's showing up. Hey, maybe this boat didn't belong to who I thought it was. Maybe it's another one. I figured where we were at, there was someone specific we were going to run into. But as the massive-ass Mudsdale makes his way in, the Crabrawler just back away. Sun questions, Mudsdale? And a figure comes in saying, you're still alive. Glad I made it in time. The figure says, but to go into a Crabrawler habitat on your own, you're not from around here, are you, Sun? Oh, that's right. He talks like an old man, or maybe an old lady. Hard to say. Sun says, no, I was trying to get back the berry they stole from me. The figure says, uh-huh. It must have been quite the rare berry then. There's always been a lot of Crabrawler here. The violent ones would always fight over berries, but then this Crabominal came around, and in short, it was strong. It beat down the Crabrawler who opposed it, then made them its allies by using berries. Eventually, all the Crabrawler on the island came to be led by this Crabominable and formed the clan. Sun says, whoa, it's almost like the dawn of a mafia. The figure says, I couldn't agree more. They've gone and taken all the berries, both wild and owned by others. They even took this habitat from the human who lived in it before. Can you stand? Sun says, thanks, Granny. Sorry, but I can't stand for the life of me. The figure says, Granny? I'm no granny. Can't you tell by looking? Says Hafu. Yeah, she talked like an old lady. I forgot all about that. But this is troubling. I don't have the strength to carry you, and Mudsdale has to keep these ones under control. We've got quite the problem. He then notices his ride pager on the ground saying, oh, is this your ride pager? Sun says, yeah. Hafu says, I'm going to take a look. If I use this. Let's see. Do you just push the button? Sun says, oh, basically. Hafu activates the ride pager, summoning the ride, Machamp that carries Sun. The Crabominable orders in the Crabrawler, but Machamp manages to bash him away, and similarly does Mudsdale. Hafu says, now you'd better run. Sun says, I can't do that. I'm a courier. I can't leave my delivery behind. Hafu says, oh, you're a courier. I understand. Wanting to finish your work even when you're gravely injured. So could you leave this to me until I can put an end to the strife on Pony Island? I, Hafu, cannot be recognized by Tapu Fini as a kahuna. I do like Hafu. I remember when I was first introduced to Hafu, and I was just like, oh, okay, she's kind of cool. There's a weird, interesting nature to Hafu that I really like. And the last chapter that we're looking at is chapter 22, The Truth and Island Kahuna Hafu. As Hafu's Mudsdale beats back the Crabrawler, Hafu says, till I can put an end to this strife on Pony Island, Hafu cannot be recognized as by Tapu Fini as a kahuna. Sun is shocked, saying, hey, I was told there weren't any kahuna on Pony Island. Hafu says, yeah, well, I was nominated to be one. Sun questions when? By whom? Hafu says, earlier I got a call from Hollis saying that everyone unanimously voted for me. Now sit back and watch. And Mudsdale goes to town. I gotta admit, though Mudsdale is not on my favorites list, I do like Mudsdale. Like, I don't know. The look and just how strong Mudsdale is. There's a certain appeal to it. And Mudsdale just gives the Crabrawler the business. Sun watches in awe as a mountain of Crabrawler just starts to form underneath Mudsdale's hooves. Sun saying, well, I guess she's strong. She defeated a whole cast of Crabrawler with one Mudsdale. And the Crabominable keeps watching, but then makes smooth. Using an opportune moment, it socks it. Oh, did it use when one of the Crabrawler was in the Mudsdale's line of sight, so it wouldn't see the hit from the Crabominable coming? That's dang. Man, you don't see tactics like that too often from unknown Pokemon. Senses, yikes, got him. Hafu says that clearly was despicable, but as a wild Pokemon, being able to nail the timing for dealing the worst damage is admirable. Yeah, Mudsdale reels from the hit, but it grits its teeth, and Hafu tells it to use counter, and goes back in with a savage hit of its own. Ooh, yeah. Oh, the Crabominable really got it good there. It's got that face like, wait, time out. Says that was incredible. Hafu laughs. Of course it was. I've taken a long journey training myself so that I'd have strength worthy of being called an island kahuna. If I couldn't show Tapu Fini the results of that training, there would be no point. I slowly switched to a southern accent for Hapu, even though I usually try to at least look up what the voices of certain characters sound like sometimes to see if I can match it, but there are times when my brain will just override that and go with what it thinks they should sound like. And Hapu just feels like she should have a southern accent. Well, I guess you're right. Like, the granny thing, yes, but more southern, if you get my drift. It's because of the Mudsdale. Oh, wait. Is Tapu Fini here? How long was it here? I gotta admit, I do love how mysterious they make the Tapu feel. Cause even in the games, I don't remember the Tapu feeling this like they move in mysterious ways. You'll never know how they'll come at you or what they're truly up to. And there were times, but I don't know, it just didn't feel quite like this. I guess because it was so easy for me to capture them. There's something about in the game where I'm just catching these Tapu like, okay, where's the next one? Okay, where's the next one? Okay, where's the next one? But the manga and the anime make a lot of these legendary or mythical Pokemon actually feel like, dang, these things have a higher brain function going on that we just can't comprehend sometimes. Sun says, show it. You make it sound like Tapu Fini is right here with us. Tapu turns to him saying, what? Haven't you hadn't noticed? Look to your side. Sun does just that, well, thanks to the Machamp thing, huh? And sure enough, Tapu Fini is there watching the fight. Tapu Fini has this look like she's watching a wrestling match, like, get him, get him, get him. Oh, that is actually incredibly fun. I do love that the Tapu do have a bit of their own personality, too. See, this is the good stuff I wanted to see. Like, despite me, some stuff I don't remember and stuff I remember clearly, giving the Tapu their own bits of personality and moments and stuff like that, there's a great element of fun to it. Sun says, whoa, as he sees Tapu Fini, saying, that's Tapu Fini? Sheesh, it really was watching from the front row, like straight up. He says, I can't just stay sitting around like this. I gotta give it the Mirage Berry. Where did it? And then he spots it underneath the Crabominable. Sun sends out his Torracat, saying, Dollar, get it back. Torracat dives for the package, but Crabominable hits it with an uppercut, knocking it right into the roof. Sun goes in with Machamp, trying to grab for the package, but Crabominable goes in again, hitting Machamp something fierce, knocking it clear out of the ship and into the water. Like, Jables! Hapu has Mudsdale use Mud Slap, blinding the Crabominable, and as it swipes the mud out of its eyes, Hapu calls out to Sun, saying, hang in there, Carrier. Thanks to you, I was able to blind it. I'll finish it off in a moment, so wait for me. And Sun says, damn it. Hapu hops on Mudsdale, saying, let's go, Mudsdale. Oh, and as Mudsdale moves in, Crabominable focuses in on where the sound of its hooves are, jabs, and nails Mudsdale right between the eyes, knocking it back and into a wall, which subsequently puts Hapu between a rock and a hard place, more or less. Hapu says it was able to hit his weak point even while it couldn't see. This one's strength is in the accuracy of its attack, and it claimed the ship as its home. Even if it's blinded, it'll still be able to swing its fist with complete accuracy. I gotta admit, the best representation of a Crabominable I have ever seen. And yes, I do know that Ash gets his own Crabominable. I know, but man, I gotta tell you, I didn't see enough of that. Hey, did Ash get a Crabominable? I could have sworn, no. I thought Ash had his own Crabominable. I guess I was mistaken. Yeah, I was so certain that Ash had a Brawler Crabominable. Well, dang, joke's on me then. But I've heard people hate on Crabominable, but I gotta admit, the manga's doing a good job of making me think, okay, maybe there's something to Crabominable. Like, this thing is out here giving the business. Hapu says, we shouldn't approach it carelessly. As Crabominable goes in for a strike, Hapu says, we're too far, you won't be able to reach us. But, if you know anything about Crabominable, it has extendo fists. Or, hey, did its fist just detach? Oh, I thought its fist extended. Huh. Well, dang. We then cut to Ula Ula Island at the Aether House, where Burnett has met up with Lily, and Cena and Dexio are still there with the preschoolers. And Burnett has set up a tablet to check in with Kukui. Kukui calls out, "Honey." Burnett says, "Darling, what's happening?" We see video feed of Guzzlord just going at it. Oh no, Guzzlord and Celesteela going at it with several Pokemon, including what looks to be type Null. Oh, the Alolan Doug Trio, Sandygast, Lycanroc, Snorlax, and what was that Pokemon's name? Togedemaru. There we go. So it looks like it's probably several of the captain's Pokemon. I don't know if the Kahuna have arrived to help out yet. But Kukui says, "The two Ultra Beasts have destroyed Melee City and are headed to where we are in Hokulani. We've managed to stop them at the gate to Route 10. But Lily then spots type Null, calling out to it by name in shock. Lily rises up and then proceeds to the door. Burnett questions Lily, and Lily says, "I knew he would come. I have to go too." Kukui says, "What's wrong, honey?" Burnett says, "Darling, Lily is..." But then she hears the door slam. She calls up, "Lily!" Kukui says, "Honey, what's wrong, honey?" I mean, you could go after her. You know, is the tablet only able to get service in the Aether House? Do you not have a wireless connection for this? Well, Lily's off. And Mudsdale has promptly been hit in the face for the third time. Poor Mudsdale. And Mudsdale is left reeling from yet another hit. Got that face like, "God damn it again!" Hapu saying, "It launched its fist like a rocket." Son watching from outside says, "Whoa, that Crabominable is super strong. But now, not the time to be impressed. I don't really care if Hapu becomes a Kahuna or not, but that thing needs to be beaten down. Otherwise, I can't give Tapu Fini the Mirage Berry." He then calls out, "What are you doing? Quit being a wimp and crush it already." Hapu says, "Watch your mouth." Though she thinks to herself, he's right though. It'll be able to punch us no matter the distance between us. I mean, it's missing a fist. Unless it can recall that immediately, I don't know how well it's going to get you with another hit. Mudsdale is hanging by a thread. Crabominable only has his right fist left. That'll be over after one attack. Yeah. It's either going to be Mudsdale or Crabominable. You're both kind of just barely hanging in there now. Hapu says it's do or die. But Crabominable then launches its other fist, and it's headed right for Mudsdale. Hapu says, "Oh no," but it misses. Did Sun draw its attack? I think he did. Hapu says, "It missed." And Crabominable knows it and panics. And Hapu has Mudsdale use, Mega Kick. Oh god, that attack. That attack will mess you up. Crabominable is knocked right into the wall and knocked out. Hapu heads outside saying, "We won. Why did it miss? Oh dear, I can't stand up straight. Wait, Courier, did you push the boat?" That's wild. Had Machamp. Oh, they must be in the shallow then. Okay. So he had Machamp move the boat up. That way, Mudsdale would be kind of off kilter a little bit to where Crabominable's strike would be. Because Crabominable's strike would only hit if it had direct firing range and nothing shifted slightly. It did look weird because it was like the fish shifted or Mudsdale shifted just a little bit out of the way. That is some A-tier thinking on your part, son. Props to you, buddy. Son says, "Since you registered Machamp shove in my rod pager, I used it to shove the boat." Hapu says, "I see, so the punch didn't miss. We were the ones who moved." Yep. Son says, "You'd better be thankful. You only won thanks to my help." Hapu takes offense with this, saying, "What are you saying? Mudsdale's the one who landed the final blow. And I'm the one who registered the Machamp show, so it really all thanks to me." Which, yeah, a little bit of column A, a little bit of column B. It was a team effort. And the Son says, "What?" But we then cut to Tapu Fini out in the water, joyously. I think she's like clapping or applauding their effort. Like, well done, what a great fight. Son says, "Crap, If we keep fighting, we'll just make Tapu Fini angrier. Tapu says, you have a point. Here's the Mirage Berry Courier. Sun says, thanks. Tapu says, carry out your duty. So though Sun says, sorry, but I can't move my arm, so would you do it for me? Tapu says, sure. But she's a little bit bewildered that she opens the box, and there's a weird sound. Oh, what? Oh, I don't know how, but Tapu Fini has placed a sparkling stone on the package. Hapu says that this is, and Sun says, whoa, that's a sparkling stone. You did it, Hapu. Hapu, shocked by it, says, does this mean you've recognized me as an island kahuna? She says to overjoyed Tapu Fini. Tapu Fini makes me think of Pops from Regular Show going, good show, jolly good show. And Hapu starts bawling her eyes out. See, definitely a young child. Well, Sun says, can you give it the berry now? We then cut back over to Mount Hokulani, where sure enough, Gladion has arrived on the scene, and I guess has defeated Celesteela with his type null. Mulaney, that was his name. Mullane, yeah. Mullane says, one Ultra Beast, silent. Kukui adds, looks like he mostly handled it by himself. The Gladion calls out, why are you acting so carefree? There's still one left. And Acerola says, yeah. And Sophocles says, help us, Big Mo. The voice calls out, brother. Gladion turns saying, what? And as she spots Lily, he calls back out to her. Lily saying, I knew it. And unfortunately, with this momentary distraction, Guzzlord has leapt from the top rope. Unfortunately, towards Lily. Seeing Lily oh, really? Now? Here? In this moment already? I'll be jiggered. Sorry. Watched Nightmare Before Christmas a little while ago. As Gladion and Type Null leap towards Lily to save her, Type Null's mask starts to shatter, and as it breaks apart, a blinding light gleams between Lily Burnett, who has leapt in to get her out of the way, and Guzzlord. Guzzlord is suddenly knocked back. Kukui shouts, he took down that giant Ultra Beast with one hit. And with her brother standing before her, Lily is in shock. Gladion kneels down saying, are you okay? As Lily says, yes, brother. Gladion smiles with his new Sylvalion. Sylvali? Sylvali. Yeah, Sylvali. I don't know why I wanted to say Sylvalion. Like, I had one. I should know what it's named. Again, shockingly enough, not one of my favorites, but I do like it. Like, that's the thing. Mudsdale, Sylvali, I like them both. They're not in my top, but I do really like Sylvali. Lily says, Type Null even evolved to protect me. She starts to tear up, saying, we finally meet again. I miss you so much. The Gladion questions, when did you leave? Why did you leave? Lily explains, saying, Mother finally tried to use Nebby. Then 3 months ago, just like you who left and took Type Null, I left with Nebby because I also wanted to put a stop to Mother's plan. Burnett says, wait a second. Acerola says, Lily and Gladion are, and Kukui says, siblings? Lily says, yes, and Gladion gives a nod. And can't you see the family resemblance? Kukui says, your mom's plan. Tried to use Nebby. In other words, that means... Burnett says, you two are, and Gladion, holding his sister, says, Luzmine, the Aether Foundation president, is our mother. In Luzmine's plan to create an Ultra Beast paradise, he needed Nebby, a Cosmog, to create exits for the beasts, along with Type Null to control them. I thought that she would give up after I took Null with me, but instead, I only hardened her resolve, and I had no idea that she had caught another Cosmog. Lily brings something out of her bag, showing Cosmome inside, saying Nebby changed forms and is still sleeping. Do you think this thing I took along with me will be of any help? The sun flu, right? Yeah, the sun flu. Yeah. And to make sure I'm calling it the right thing. Like, sometimes I naturally remember, other times I'm just like, nope, that's the wrong name. Gladion looks at the flute, and Acerola says, huh? A flute? Gladion rises up, holding the flute, saying, Lily, let's go. We're going to the altar. Ooh. Man, okay. Dang, oh, wow, the plot is kind of... then again, you're not really actually completing the island challenges. I mean, you're not going from taking on the captain's trials to taking on the kahuna. You're not doing any of that. So I think that's what's kind of throwing me off in terms of some of the story, because you do the stuff for the captains, fight the totem Pokemon, and then you do fight some of the kahuna, but you're not really doing that. You're not having any of those fights. So that's what's throwing things off in my mind, because you have a lot of the stuff with the kahuna fights, but then the Aether Foundation stuff kind of takes place, and then you do the Pokemon League in Alola. But I mean, they're kind of ignoring a lot of that, much like in X and Y, where, I mean, you didn't really need to deal with a lot of the gym leaders, all things considered. But we cut over to Aether Paradise. Those are what? Elite Aether Foundation employees? Oh, Aether Foundation scientists, I think? I don't know. Well, the masked employees say, preparations are complete, Branch Chief. Papa says, very good. Now let's get going to Vast Pony Canyon. Well, Faba's on the move. I have very much been enjoying where the manga is now going. It didn't take too long for me to really catch a lot of my interest in this, but it's really hitting now, where it's just like, yes, here's the really good stuff. Because, I don't know, the involvement of Looker and Annabelle is already a plus, because I like both characters. Does Annabelle still have Raikou? Or Raikou? I wonder. Because, I'm not trying to give too many spoilers away, but Annabelle loses some of her memory when it comes to a lot of this stuff. So I don't really know how they're playing things. Will Annabelle have no memory of her time as a frontier brain? Or does she have her memories? It's hard for me to really say. I mean, will we ever see Annabelle as a frontier brain ever again? I can't remember if it was ever brought up. The fight with Blacephalon was actually pretty fun too. It's very quirky. It's far from my favorite Ultra Beast, but I do love its personality and demeanor. And the arrival of Tapu Bulu kind of got me a little bit excited, just because, with Tapu Koko, it was very involved. Tapu Koko was very proactive. Tapu Lili, it tried to be proactive, but it was on the back foot and got into a little bit of trouble. But Tapu Bulu and Tapu Fini, they had some actually really kind of cool moments where they were just there and you weren't really ready for it. And I don't know, I really dug those shocking appearances, like they were there before you even realized it kind of moments. And if Annabelle is looking for who I think she's looking for, that'll be fun to see, though I doubt we'll reference too many connective tissue when it comes to that. Hala making his little stand against Buzzful and Cartano is kind of cool. Annabelle mostly getting to be really involved with things going forward is fun too, because I'm just glad that she actually gets to be a part of things, especially kind of considering how Annabelle was a bit used towards the end of the Emerald arc. I do kind of feel some kind of way about that. So hopefully she gets to have a bit more shine here, even though she might be like one of the more impressive members of the Battle Frontier outside of Brendan with his 3 Reggies. And that Crabrawler though, shoo, that thing was surprisingly tough. I thought we were going to run into a specific character in the Seafolk Village, because I'm pretty sure he's in the area, but I never ran into him in the game, so I'm not sure. I'm pretty sure he's either in the Seafolk Village or near it. But it was great to see Hapu and her cool Mudsdale. Now, I remember that Hapu did kind of give me a bit of a run for my money for a little bit. It was only that Mudsdale. That Mudsdale was tough, from what I remember at least. Sometimes my experiences aren't everybody's experiences, but it was a great scene, and I liked the way Hapu ended up getting the Sparkling Stone and being recognized as the Kahuna and all that. That was fun. But Gladion being reunited with Lily, we didn't drag on their reunite. thing. It was pretty obvious. Like, I feel like you would have come to the conclusion of their relationship over time in the manga if you had never played the game. Because it's like, from what I remember in the game, finding out that they were siblings was just kind of like, yeah, no shit. It's just like, of course they're siblings. They look so much alike. But they're already going to the altar. And, so, okay, it's in the altar is in Vast Pony Canyon. So we're really just kind of cruising right into a bit of the finale here. But, hey, how many volumes are left for this? Oh yeah, no, it's just 2 more volumes. Okay, yeah. It's taking me off guard because we're really rushing towards what is the conclusion. But it's because of the nature of how they established everything. By not having it a point to challenge the kahuna, you don't really have a reason to drag this out any further. Just get to the finale. And 2 volumes to kind of wrap that up. And as far as I could tell, 1 volume to... Because, no, it looks like the Sun and Moon stuff is wrapped up in the current volume I'm in. And then the Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon stuff takes up the next 2 volumes. Oh, okay. I don't know. I've heard that some stuff is kind of cut out, but even the stuff with how, there we go. I keep wanting to say Hapu, how. There's Hapu, how, and Hala. So, bear with me on that. But, man, How had his little moment, and it wasn't bad. Not as involved as it could have been, and it deserves to be a little bit more fleshed out. But with the way that the story is going, it makes a lot of sense that Hal isn't as involved as he could be. It's a shame, but actually reading through it, like, nah, I get it. There's not really a place for Hal here in this story. At best, a team up with Hala to fight back Buzzwole and Kartana. That's about it. I feel like that is the best moment that Hal could get, fighting back to back with his grandpa and stuff. But other than that, him not really having too shining a moment after the fact, it does make quite a good deal of sense. But we're going quickly on our way to seeing 2 of my favorite legendaries or mythicals or whatever in the Pokemon region of Alola, so I'm excited. And we haven't seen all of my favorite Pokemon in Alola yet, and to know that we're getting close to the end, it's just like, come on, man. I'm ready. I'm ready for all my faves to show up. We got Guzzlord up here on the screen right now. Come on. I'm jonesing for it. I'm jonesing for my faves to show up. But I'll understand if the next few chapters don't have all of them. But the next 2 volumes should. I should be seeing my faves in droves, baby. Droves! Although I find it funny that my least favorite of the starters ended up being kind of completely excluded from a lot of this. I feel so bad for that. Even the mangaka didn't quite care for that starter, and I'm like, oof, that's rough. I always feel bad for not really caring for certain starters, but just didn't do it for me. And then finding out that the 2 main characters have my favorite final starter evolutions, which, way to kind of give it away, the surprise, but they're so cool. They're so cool. It was tough to choose one or the other. But let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Like, comment, subscribe if you enjoyed the ride. Thank you so much for watching. Until next time, I've been Duuz-Diz-Din, and I hope to see you later. So then take care. Bye-bye.